Thank you, Brenda. Welcome. Good morning. Welcome to the Unitarian Universalist Meeting House of Provincetown, where we affirm the inherent worth and dignity of every person, and where we support each other on our spiritual search for truth and for meaning. My name is Shar Priolo, and I'm your worship host today. I've been a member of the UU Meeting House since 1983, and I serve on the worship committee and sing in your choir. Our guest speaker today is Meeting House member Dianne Kopser. You may recognize her from the choir. And let's see. My pages. Dianne is also an elder of the church, has been here since 1985. Yeah. We're old. And has been on many committees in the choir, on the board, and has done a lot of moving around, and she's going to speak to you about that today. Thank you so much today for sharing with us, Dianne. We also want to thank our pianist, Brenda Silva, for directing the choir this morning. Thank you, Brenda. I'd like to take a moment now to affirm our Meeting House covenant. I'll say a line, and then please repeat it back to me. Love is the spirit of this meeting house.
Love is the spirit of this meeting house.
This is our great covenant. We dwell together in peace. We seek the truth in love. And we help one another. We're going to light our chalice now, and I invite Len Bowen to light the chalice this morning. I invite those of you at home to light a candle at the same time, wherever you are. In this way, we can feel connected even while we are apart. Chalice lighting words this morning are by Marjorie Montgomery. Life is a gift for which we are grateful. We gather in community to celebrate the glories and the mysteries of this great gift. Thank you, Len. Please join me now in singing our opening hymn. It's number 1 in the gray hymnal. It's called May Nothing Evil Cross This Door. That's the very first hymn. Number 1, May Nothing Evil Cross This Door. Please stand as you are able. Thank you. Want to mention that at any time during this service, you are welcome to light a silent candle at the table to the right of the pulpit, where there's a journal to record your thoughts and prayers. And after the meditation, we will sing together Spirit of Life, hymn number 123, which you can find in that same gray hymnal, 1, 2, 3. But now, for a prayer and meditation, we have Dianne.
Welcome on this glorious full moon, 2nd of July. Thank you for coming. Nearly everyone moves at some time or another during their lives. Many times, it's for a happy or at least positive reason. But there are those among us who simply must move for reasons beyond our control and sometimes against our will. Right now, my mother is preparing to move to assisted living, and we, her 5 children, are being asked to choose from her cherished possessions, among other things. It's hard, but she's facing it and has some say in her fate. What of those who have no time for that? What of those who haven't the capacity? What of the victims of earthquake, domestic abuse, fire, flood, and war? We have among us victims of recent flooding, even here in Provincetown. How are we helping? What steps can we make to make such transitions less traumatic? We as a community have stepped up in so many ways, and this is admirable. We need one another. If you have someone who struggles, past or present, you'd like to acknowledge in this sacred space, speak their names now. We will hold them in our hearts. Mom. Thank you.
We will now sing Spirit of Life. It's a meditation, it's a wonderful song, and it's a song that you sing across the United States every week. It is number 123 in the gray hymnal. It's also found on the little purple laminated cards in each pew, hopefully. We'll sing it first in English and then in Spanish. I now invite Lorraine to do our reading this morning.
Now I Become Myself by May Sarton. Now I become myself. It's taken time, many years and places. I have been dissolved and shaken, worn other people's faces, run madly as if time were there, terribly old, crying a warning, hurry, you'll be dead before, what? Before you reach the morning, or the end of the poem is clear, or love safe in the walled city. Now to stand still, to be here, feel my own weight and destiny. The black shadow on the paper is my hand, the shadow of a word, as thought shapes the shaper, falls heavily on the paper, is heard. All fuses now, falls into place from wish to action, word to silence. My work, my love, my time, my face, gathered into one intense gesture of growing like a plant. As slowly as the ripening fruit, fertile, detached, and always spent, falls, but does not exhaust the root. So all the poem is, can give, grows in me to become the song, made so and rooted by love. Now there is time, and time is young. Oh, in the single hour I live all of myself and do not move. I, the pursued, who madly ran, stand still, and stop the sun.
Thank you, Lorraine. At this time, I invite you to join me in singing hymn number 4, again in the gray hymnal. This one is I Brought My Spirit to the Sea. You can find it in the gray hymnal number 144. I Brought My Spirit to the Sea. Now is the time in our service where we take a collection for the ongoing support of this meeting house and our shared ministry. As we enjoy musical reflection, we welcome your donations here in the sanctuary and online through PayPal or Venmo. You can find that information on our website, uumh.org, and there are QR code cards in the pews as well. And I invite 4 volunteer ushers to come forward for the collection while the choir offers their offering. Thank you.
Thank you, choir. Thank you, Brenda. Moving is one of the most stressful things we can do, and yet we do it. There are plenty of reasons for it, and most of the time, the reasons themselves are stressful, like a birth or death, a job change, finances, aging, or a change in marital status. Does that cover everything? Several of us UUMH members have moved recently for various reasons. How do we cope? Where are our support systems, and what do we learn in the process? Moving takes us out of our comfort zone, exhausts us, and jangles our nerves. But the journey is worth it. This is especially true when we ask for help and let it in. I moved to Provincetown in 1984 with a small car full of clothes and art supplies and about $500 to my name. I thought that was going to be plenty. I came here for 3 reasons. I wanted to be near the ocean, live in an LGBTQI, whatever else letters come after that, friendly community, and be in a place where the arts are a big part of the scene. So Provincetown fit the bill. I arrived on a rainy night in May and took an attic room in what would one day become a very fancy inn, but wasn't then. The towels were an unfortunate brown. I was alone, without family or friends to rely on, and without the structure of school. I was afraid and a little dejected when the town didn't roll out the red carpet for me. Yep, another lesbian comes to town. Let's issue a stamp. I'm not sure what I expected exactly. I'd lived a relatively sheltered, middle-class life until then. All I knew was that I needed community, and this was a good place to find it. Maybe I was less courageous than someone gay who'd lived in a predominantly straight community, but my promise to myself was that I'd live here for just a couple of years, then see where I wanted to go next. I unpacked my toothbrush and contemplated where to eat dinner. I'd left the door open a crack so I could smell the seaweed, salty air. A big ginger cat with a light misting of water on his fur nonchalantly strolled into my room and greeted my ankles. I nearly cried. I knew things would work out somehow. That tiny connection to life eased my fear and loneliness. So I bought a copy of The Advocate and studied the want ads. My hands were black with newspaper ink. I found the tiny cottage in North Truro, 3 jobs, and the way to the bar where I was sure I'd meet lots of lovely people. I had a very busy summer. Romance, hard work, bronchitis. The tiny cottage was not winterized, so in the fall, I moved to a studio apartment just behind the meeting house. It was slightly more luxurious than the cottage, with a little stove, French sink combination, and a bathroom where I could dry myself off without bumping into the walls. It was still small, so I made a Murphy bed to save space. I can't recall whether I had a bureau for my clothes, but I did find a used picnic table for my artwork. I had my priorities. Moving to Provincetown from the wilds of North Truro felt like a leap of faith. Not exactly in the closet, I felt slightly more committed to being openly gay once I moved here. After all, my W-2s and license would identify me for years into the future as living in a gay Mecca. fishing village. Frenetic summer turned to quiet fall. I'd found a few friends and adopted a kitten from a local astrologer who threw in a relationship reading for me and Roxanne the Virgo cat. I was home again. During the dark days of winter, I was introduced to the UUMH, that's this place. Some lovely older lesbians threw a Christmas Eve sleepover for a few of us young women new to town. I approached the evening with trepidation, but had nothing to fear. It wasn't going to be a weird or racy time. They gave us fruitcake and eggnog. They took us to look at all the holiday lights around town, then brought my resistant self to the candle-lighting service here at the meeting house. It was beautiful. My heart felt a soft clicking into place as I discovered another level of connection to my new home. Within the year, I joined you on a spiritual search for truth and meaning, and I'm so grateful for the kindness, the warmth that I feel as part of the Meeting House community. We never know how important our words and actions are to those who are alone or feel alone on their journey. What would this Meeting House look like if we each brought our beloved community to just one struggling soul? After a few years, a few jobs, a few moves from apartments to cottages, and a windfall, I bought a condo in town. This move came after a bout with cancer, so though I was on the mend, I was very tired. I've been cancer-free since 1991, so everything is cool. And I can blame this meeting house for part of that success. It's just the side effects of treatment that get me down. So I had practically no furniture. Since I'd been hopping from rental to rental, I had to buy virtually everything in person during a time when Amazon had yet to make consumerism easy. Friends came with me to Hyannis and coached me through the purchase of pots and pans, carpets, a futon, and the other furniture I'd been putting off acquiring for years. It made me think of being a newlywed, choosing china and a toaster. I came to the end of my windfall eventually, so I learned how to begin my garden with seeds rather than plants. I built my own shelves, scrounged secondhand shops. I fell in love with my home. The cat came with me and loved it too. As I've said, after cancer and the treatments for it, I was very tired. I still am. This invisible disability led me to become more creative. I rented out my house to folks who could afford a summer in Provincetown. This meant moving every year to a little cottage or room in someone's home, then moving back in the fall. It was stressful, but oddly rewarding. I got to live in different towns on Cape and meet wonderful new people. I went crabbing with a 10-year-old girl while living in Chatham at her mother's house. I painted pictures of the moon outside my little cottage in North Truro when the 23 years of hot flashes prevented me from enjoying hot, sunny days. I kept bees with a friend who lived next door to another summer cottage. I enjoyed the generosity of a potter in whose Eastham house I rented a basement room. I sculpted stoneware mermaids in her workshop. She was patient, kind of, when I exploded figurines in her kiln. It was there that I first met, fell in love with, and adopted Hallie McCaw, who's been with me for 22 years now. Though I had cats when I adopted this bird, she's now the only companion animal in my life. Moving with her is an experience, but she adapts readily well. As long as she has her cozy cage and me feeding her bananas and pistachios, she's happy. I tried to take a lesson from that. Home is where love lives. Now, as I said, stressful and rewarding. Eventually, it wasn't rewarding enough. I missed a year's worth of rental income when COVID hit. I was too afraid of the unknown, of having people with their germs in my home, and of being away from the comforts of home if I were to get sick myself. Also, now in my early 60s, I'm 62, you don't have to bother doing the math, I just couldn't face another hop back and forth. I needed to be able to live in my own home, wherever that might be. I agonized for about a month or two, then put my condo on the market. Before listing it, my realtor advised me to get rid of a third of my stuff to make the place look bigger, less personal. I'd lived in my condo for 30 years, so had accumulated plenty of stuff. I gulped, then donated some big things and junked still more. It felt like turning myself inside out like a pocket, but I did it. When it was done, the shelves of tired old paperbacks and knickknacks I did not need gone, the garden raked free of debris, the plastic and terracotta pots carted off. I was shocked to find I didn't miss any of it. I still don't. Let me repeat that, I still don't. We need so little but gather so much. I feel lighter, less owned by my possessions than appreciative of what I've kept. I live in Harwich now, an hour south of Provincetown. It's a bit of a hike to services and singing practice, but I've traded the luxury of living in the center of a thriving tourist town for something more sedate. Big windows and a second bedroom with a Murphy bed tucked away to make room for an art studio sold me on it. Following a long artistic dry spell, I'm working on a series of paintings of the woods just outside my studio, and we'll have a show at the Commons in September. This is my emerging artist show, so it's really exciting. So anyway, has the move jump-started my creative process? I'm inclined to think so. I live in a place where I don't have to pack up and leave. I'm home, again. As Sarton says, now to stand still, to be here, feel my own weight and density. Will I need to move sometime in the future? I don't know. Though I don't want to, and I know how hard it is to pack up and go, I accept that we're not on this planet to stand still.
Thank you, Dianne. So, it has become our practice to pose a question based on the theme of the service each week. However, this week coming up, Tuesday, when we usually have our Zoom coffee hour and discuss these questions, is 4th of July. And there will not be a Zoom coffee hour. So Diane's question, which was going to be, and still may be in your minds, where has moving taken you on your spiritual journey? That is, where has moving taken you on your spiritual journey? Think about that, and I offer this information in lieu of giving you information about Tuesday Zoom coffee hour. Reverend Kate sent out this email Thursday letting us know that we didn't plan to be in the 4th of July parade this year, but given the recent events in town, i.e. a false report of guns, other very false information like a car went through the East End market, we're looking at folks, the feelings of folks, and realizing it's important to have messages of racial justice in the parade. If the select board and town manager agree and have invited folks to walk up front with them, we have a large street width Black Lives Matter banner, and everyone is invited to bring a sign that resonates with yourself about the current climate. We have signed a policy and procedure form that commits to no profanity, violence, etc. Any signs or shirts from the Racial Justice Provincetown are welcome. If you're at the vigil Saturday, if you were at the vigil this past Saturday, you can keep that sign, maybe you have. Just remember to bring it back to church after Tuesday or next Sunday, a week from today. Now, if you're interested in being in the parade, meet at the Harbor Hotel, the one at the very east end of town, at no later than 10:30 on the 4th. The parade begins at 11, and we are at the front. Just to be totally transparent, this is now from Reverend Kate. Well, the whole thing has been from Reverend Kate, but to be totally transparent, I myself will not be walking in the parade because loud noises are a trigger for my facial condition, and parades are so full of unexpected loud noises, so I now avoid them. Look for Michelle Axelson. That's the owner of Women Crafts, Michelle Axelson, who will be the gathering folks in the parade. Thanks all. Have a safe, joyous, and justice-filled holiday weekend. Rev Kate. And now I welcome Dianne back for her closing words.
Go now in peace. Go now in peace. May the spirit of love surround you everywhere, everywhere you may go.